Got this older road bike here, and it's got non-aero brakes with the safety levers on it. And I'm gonna go ahead and update it and install Ergo style brake levers on there. And I'm gonna walk you through the process of doing that. First thing I want to do is go ahead and remove the old, it's not even handlebar tape, it's like foam. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that off. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the old brake levers here. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut the cables. There's that. Okay, to remove the cables here from the old brakes, there's like a little catch in there. I'm just going to push the cable down, hold the little catch in there, slide the cable to the back, and then it'll go ahead and pop right out. Then to remove the old handles, after I've gotten the cables out, just go ahead and squeeze the brakes open, and then there's a screw in here. On this, it's a flathead or a Phillips. Sometimes it might be an Allen head, but I'm just going to go ahead, get my screwdriver in there, and loosen this. I'll go ahead and slide this clamp off. Okay, time to mount the brake levers onto the handlebars. If you notice that the little holes where the cables go into, they're on different sides on each of the levers. The way these are going to go is the hole for the cable is going to go to the inside of the handlebars. So this one is going to go on this side, and this one over here is going to go on the other side over there. Okay, let's go ahead and install the first brake lever. It just slides right on there. I got the clamp loosened pretty well. And I'm going to get this roughly up into position here where I'm going to want it. I'm going to tighten it somewhat, pull the brake lever down, and then using a hex wrench on this one I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it, but not all the way. Okay, because I want to still be able to move it a little bit. Now using a board, what I want to do is line up the bottom of the brake lever so that it's in a straight line from the bottom of the handlebars, like this little part here. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down to where it's right there. Go ahead and then tighten this down. And also make sure it's straight going this way as well. We can fine tune a little bit later if we really need to here. And double check this. And that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, let's go ahead and put this side on. Just go ahead and slide it up into position. Get it positioned roughly where I want it. Tighten the clamp most of the way. So I can still move it around. Use a straight edge here. Line it up with the bottom of the drop bar. And then tighten the clamp. And make sure that it's pointed straight forward as well. And double check it. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to get ready to install the brake cable housings. I'm going to have to cut new ones. First thing I want to do is, well, I peeled back the hood on the brake lever, open up the brake, and inside there's like a little barrel part here that the cable goes through. It's got like a wide opening on one side and then just a smaller hole on the other side. And so what we're going to do is the part that's got the wider opening is going to be facing out. I'm going to take the cable, put it through there, and then there should be a hole going through the back of the lever. So I'm going to go ahead and find that and poke the cable through that. There we go. And so where the cable is going to come out through the back. I don't want to pull the cable all the way through yet. Just have it come out a little ways. Now I have a bit of a brake cable housing. I want to make sure it's kind of long enough, so I'm just going to go ahead and rough fit it there, and it's fit along there and fit down. So that's long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take the brake cable housing, slide it onto the cable, and slide it down, and then there's the little hole in the back of the brake lever that I showed you before. The cable housing is just going to go right in there, push it in as far as you can go. Now what I'm going to do is take some electrical tape, and I'm just going to take I'm not going to take a long piece. This is just temporary at the moment. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape the cable housing into place here. And I'm basically going to run it approximately where it's going to go. Taking a little piece here, because it's going to go to the inside of this little curve here. And then I'll put a piece of tape right here. And when I wrap the handlebar tape, it's going to be wrapped right up until this little lip here. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the tape right there. And so then the cable housing is going to come down to this brake right there. And I want to go ahead and have enough bend in here so that it has room to go down when the brake are activated there. So, but then again, I don't want to have it so much that it's sticking up either. So let's go here. They're activated, and that's probably about enough bend right there. So using some good cable housing cutters, these are from Park Tool, I'm going to go ahead and cut the cable housing. And you want to get a good cable housing cutters and trim that just a little bit so I get a nice clean cut there. Okay, and then one thing when you cut cable housing, it's nice to have like a little scribe, and you go ahead and poke it through there because the little lining in there sometimes will get squished down, and so you want to be able to have the cable come through there. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the old little bit of cable that's still attached to the brake there. So, you see here, loosen this, and pull that through. Then I'm going to go ahead and push the new cable all the way through the cable housing. Then open there, so get this. And so the little cable end goes right into that little slot there. Feed the cable down through the brake, down through the little cable lock part here, loosen that a little bit more, get that through there. Pull the cable through, get the housing into place there. Okay, now I need to adjust the front brake. So what I'm going to do is take this front barrel adjuster here. It looks like the little lock nut is completely locked down there. So we'll go ahead and loosen that. Bring that up. Tighten this down all the way. And then loosen it like about four full turns. So there. Okay, squeeze these together and then hold them together. Easier said than done. Pull the cable down through there and then tighten the little lock nut there. And you don't need to crank it down all the way quite yet. Now take a little barrel adjuster and then screw it back down somewhat. I can squeeze the brakes a little bit. And that'll loosen the brakes out now. And then I can test the brakes. And it looks like I have a decent amount of movement in there, though only the one side's moving. So what I'm going to do, if I just move that a little bit, adjust the brakes over. And I got better movement there on both sides. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down all the way. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape off that I just put on for temporary. Now that the cable's holding the cable nice and tight in there, now I'm going to go ahead and tape these for real. So I'm going to use a little bit longer tape. And wrap it around. I want to get to the inside of the curve here, hold the cable housing in place there. One more there. And one more right there. Now to go ahead and trim off the excess cable, I'll leave about 1.5 inches on there. Cut it off. Again, use good quality cutters so you get a nice clean cut. Put the little cable end on there and then crimp it down. And the front brake is done. Now time to work on the rear brake. I want to remove the old cable housing out of these guides. And okay, and I've got some new cable housing here. So I'm going to start off by running this down through the little holders. Okay, I want to adjust the length of the cable here. So I'm going to pull this back through a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up this end of this cable here. Get a nice clean bit of cable there. That looks good. And the cable will sit in there. And I want enough room here. I don't want to have too much cable housing here, but I want enough that it's not going to get too tight when these brakes are activated. That's about right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of this cable back through the other way. And then as a precaution to make sure that I don't lose this cable when I'm working on the front side, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of tape and then just tape this down here to hold it in place, so that I end up with the right amount of cable housing right back there. Okay, so now I'm going to pull all this cable housing up through the little holders, the little guides there, and get this roughly adjusted here. And one of the tricks is for the cable housing here, you want to make sure that when you turn the handlebars this direction, that it's not going to get too tight. So when you can turn it all the way and it doesn't like totally run out of cable housing there, then you know it's about right. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this into position right here. Just kind of hold it right there for now. Pull this boot back. Okay, and actually I want this a little bit lower right there. Run this around. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this a little bit longer than I think I need it right there. Okay, cut this just a little bit longer than I think I need it right there. So if I cut it right there, I think that's more than enough there. Now if I go ahead and fit it down in there, yeah, so it's still too much, which is fine, exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut a little bit more off. Fit it down into there. Still a little too much. And just a little bit more. And that's about right. I'd rather have a little bit more cable housing than I need than not enough cable housing. Okay, so that's about right there. Now pull this out of the way here, and I'm going to pull the brake lever over. And then right again, there's this little barrel here that holds the cable, and I'm going to make sure the wide opening is facing forward. So I'm going to push the cable through there, find the hole in the back, and there's the cable going out the back. I'm going to feed that onto the cable housing. Up. Take the skewer. I can clean that up a little bit better there. That's a little in just a little bit. That's better looking. Use the skewer. Got the hole through there. Feed the cable through. Get that through there. Now I go ahead and pull this tape off. Because now we're going to tape it from the inside, from down here. And again, we're just going to use the temporary tape, just kind of hold it in place until we get the cable all attached to the brakes and all adjusted and tightened. And then go ahead and push the cable all the way through the housing. Okay, got to remove the cable fragment from the brake that was left there from before. So go ahead and remove that. Pull that through. Then take the new cable and we'll go ahead and pull this through. And I want to go ahead and adjust this barrel adjuster here. So loosen this little lock nut. Up, there's that. Move that all the way up. Take the barrel adjuster, move it down. And then we'll go ahead and loosen it, probably about 4 full turns worth. Okay. Now go ahead and I'm going to squeeze these brakes together, kind of hold them together, pull the cable through there tight, and then tighten this down, and tighten this lock nut down somewhat. And then from this point, I can go ahead and loosen this barrel adjuster, and that'll the brake pads will move out now. Now I can go ahead and just test the brakes. Okay, so the one side's moving more than the other, which is fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of adjust the brakes so that they are even. Just move this over a little bit. There's that. That looks better, and nice tensioning on the brakes there. So go ahead and tighten this down all the way. And I really should just kind of like tighten these lock nuts. I sometimes do, sometimes don't. Now I'll cut the excess brake cable off, leave about 1.5 inches on there. And get a little crimp end on there. Crimp that on. Nice and tight. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape that I put on there for temporary purposes, just to kind of hold it there while I adjusted the cable. The reason I do that is because now the cable is holding the housing nice and tight into the back of the brake lever. So now when I go ahead and put tape on, I know that this isn't going to get pulled in farther later after I get the brake cables all adjusted. So I'm going to go ahead and put this first piece of tape on here, hold it in nice and tight there. Tape to hold it to the inside of the curve here. Another piece right here. And then one last piece there. Okay, so now, other than wrapping the handlebars, these are done. Nice new ergonomic brake levers on here to update this vintage bike. Cool.